Now we'll move to the superintendent's report.
Good, thank you, Board President Archuleta. On the superintendent report, we have a few items. The first one is going to be a update or presentation from the individuals, Dr. Lechuga's team, that went to New Jersey, am I correct? Yes. Okay.
Good evening, President Archuleta, distinguished board members, and Dr. Abrego, Superintendent. I am Dr. Lechuga, and with me we have the Assistant Principal, Ms. Howell, Lupe, Maria Marquez, Coach, and one of our teachers, Joey Kemna, and we're missing Ms. Burns, who all of us attended Uncommon Schools, Great Habits, Great Readers. And we have a presentation. I think we brought a lot, and we have a lot of takeaways from this presentation. Ms. Marquez is going to present at this time and show you a video. Ms. Marquez.
As instructional coach at Monaco Elementary, I started working with two teachers who you'll see in the video, particularly in the implementation of some takeaways from the Great Habits, Great Readers conference we recently attended in New Jersey.
I'm rebooting. And I'll just say we just started implementing some of these practices. So you're seeing the beginning of what we're planning to roll out in a bigger way.
Well, meantime, oh, there it is, okay. That's there.
So while that is rebooting or loading, I want you to know that we are currently working on framing our literacy block, K-5, to make sure we're providing the same literacy experiences to all kids, K-5, again, and that it's systemic within our school. These are just some of the strategies we're starting to implement, and these are two teachers that were brave enough to take it on, but we're hoping to get more teachers on board, and coming up the next school year, we'll start as a whole school.
Go ahead, I think you,
While we're waiting for this to load, could you tell us, share with us what your plans are for distributing this information to the rest of your teaching staff?
Yes, sir. First, let me just say that going to this conference and any PD regarding instruction is beneficial. Our students and teachers really benefit from looking at not only unpacking the standards, what that means, looking at CLOs, looking at how to address the students' reading, to make them to have them all reading at grade level. Great Habits, Great Readers does that. They have great habits and aligns with the standards. That's where we should be, at the rigor and the relevance that it should be. And so tomorrow, the 14th, we have a PD for the half day that will address some of that. And like Ms. Marquez said, we're aligning the reading so that we could all be aligned to what we should be doing from K to 5. Oh, there we go. She's our 5th grade teacher, and she's doing one of the strategies that she learned at Great Habits, which is identifying and going back to the children's evidence, text evidence, and not letting them go, and using academic language that they could learn how to respond, how to effectively respond. It's not.
I don't have sound.
It's okay. Let's move on.
All right. Well,
Later if they
I
can.
apologize for that. If we don't have sound, the next presenter can probably let you know a little bit about what you're doing with habits of discussion. Joy Kemna, 1st grade teacher.
All right. So my name is Joy Kemna. I'm the 1st grade biliteracy teacher at Monaco Elementary. My lesson, we were working on making inferences about the characters, and the language target we used was describing them using adjectives. So, it's very awkward for me to try to explain it in this setting because it was all in the video. But it's about to be here, so maybe I can see myself and remember. Okay. Good.
There you go.
Okay, so here I am. I'm talking about the 3 focuses that I was working on during this guided reading lesson. So the first one was unpacking what the Great Habits, Great Readers, people refer to as the bottom line. So that's our standard. So here I'm presenting to the students. Puedo inferir sobre las características. Sí, usando adjetivos y evidencia del texto. And then the students, so then we go into this bottom line and we're like, well, what does that mean? Let's think about, what does it mean that we have to make inferences? What does it mean that we have to use text evidence? Okay, how are we gonna know we did that? So then in the next part, I'm showing data collection and real-time feedback. So students are reading. These are my 1st grade bilingual students. They're in a end of 1st grade, a level 16 text, ready for 2nd grade. And as I'm listening in on them and using a prompting guide to see what feedback they need. And then this is something that the Great Habits, Great Readers people call habits of discussion. So we've also had trainings in this in accountable talk or Socratic seminars. Basically, we're giving language supports so that students have that opportunity to develop the language they need so that they can have academic discourse. So they are describing characters using adjectives, and then they're saying they know it because the text says, going back into the text and giving their evidence. And I really wish there was sound because they're so amazing. I wish you could hear them right now.
Part of Great Habits, Great Readers is developing a habit with grade probes that teachers align to the standards so they could go back and check and see if they're getting their understanding. They're really good probes that you use in habits of discussion and reading. All right, I think that's it. Any questions?
I would like to see this. Maybe we can get it
Yeah.
fixed and bring it back, if that could at all be possible.
Thank you.
I can actually email it to you all. I have it on my memory stick, so I can email it to you.
Maybe at the next board meeting also, we can show it again so the folks can see it.
We'll email it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good, thank you. And to continue with the superintendent's reports, President Archuleta, I just want to let you know that we are hearing concerns from our community about recess and about the English language development acquisition program. So we do have two committees. We would like for people to sign up for those committees. I believe we have the applications are outside or they are on our website. So we encourage people to apply. The due date for those applications is February 20th. And I also want to invite everyone on Thursday. We're going to have a superintendent forum, and the topic is going to be English language acquisition. So we ask that if you would like to attend, you're more than welcome. And then also I want to let you know that I wanted to give you an update on the turnaround plan for the district, but I think I have an expert or someone in the audience that can help me a little bit more. So I'm going to ask, is it okay if I ask Ms. Lisa Medler from the Colorado Department of Education to give us an update?
Of course, for me, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Board President Archuleta, and other board members. It's been a little while since I've been here to visit with you guys. So Dr. Abrego actually recently asked me to provide sort of a mid report, which I sent last night to both Superintendent Abrego and to Board President Archuleta. I do have copies, so if you want to see that as well, I can leave that for you. And then it sounds like you were going to send it as well electronically. So, so I can just lay this out and then see if you guys have questions. Is that appropriate? Mm-hmm. Okay. So to remind you, last spring, the district several of you were there at the state board meeting for your hearing for being at the end of the accountability clock. So that meant that you had been on the on priority improvement or turnaround on the state's accountability system for more than 5 years, and so that was at the district level and also for Adams City High School. As a part of that series, that hearing, an agreement was made and signed that the district would move forward with an external management partner, and that was beyond textbooks. Furthermore, there were other agreements that were made as far as carrying out district activities in the district and in the high school. So since that time, I've been working with the district as a part of that. One of the main tenets of that, in addition to beyond textbooks, was having a progress monitoring plan put into place. So gathering data, gathering evidence that progress is being made. When you get the report, what you're going to see is that I would say implementation thus far has been mixed, and I definitely have some concerns that I'm glad that you guys asked so that you get them out there. So as far as the Beyond Textbooks implementation, that seems to actually be going pretty smoothly. Beyond Textbooks is coming in as scheduled, and they are seeing progress in implementation, although that does take time in those schools that were selected to be a part of that. I want to remind you, as a part of the agreement with the State Board of Education, that any recommendation that Beyond Textbooks makes, the district is obligated to then treat it as a requirement and implement their recommendations. That was written into the agreement. So they are continuing to provide those recommendations thus far. The district is treating them seriously and moving forward. So for that part of the actions, that seems to be going well. I will say that anything that can be done to accelerate implementation would be a good thing. The district was given 1 year before having to go back before the state board. So if the district and the high school do not come off the accountability clock with the next round of performance frameworks, then you'll need to schedule a follow-up visit with the state board next fall. And so you want to be able to walk in, essentially being able to show progress in implementation and then also showing impact on students. So that takes me to the next part, and that is establishing and collecting that data. And that's where I really see a lot of the struggle within the district right now. And that pulling together that data has been, it's a new way of doing practice, and I think it's been difficult. And there's a whole variety of reasons that certainly can be discussed, but regardless, that is an expectation of this work. So I would say that right now, work is being done to restructure at the district level and to work with schools to get the data that's needed. And so I'm confident with some additional work that'll happen, but that I would say there's definitely been a hiccup there. Looking at the data that I've seen so far, I would say the district is not on track to meet its targets that it put into that plan. Okay, so that's underscoring again the reason why that laser-like focus on implementation of the agreed-upon plan is really important. Without that, it makes that conversation next fall difficult if that is needed. So I definitely want to highlight that. And there's a few things that you'll see that get called out as examples in the memo. It's a 2-page memo. And then finally, well, I'll let you read that, but those were the main parts that I wanted to at least highlight in the update. And we can certainly go from there.
Good.
Where will that report be coming from? From the chairman or from you?
You have it now, right?
I have copies.
Yes. So what I asked Lisa was if she could get the copies for us today, so you could have it.
I can hand them out.
Oh, yeah.
Are you taking questions?
I am taking
Does anybody have any
questions.
questions for Lisa?
I'd like to perhaps take a rain check on having you come back after we've had a chance to look into this a little more.
I think that's a fair request. Absolutely.
Could you make an appointment to come back with us, and maybe at the next board meeting, we can possibly have questions or
I
concerns
believe-
or?
Now, are you guys having a work session or a retreat coming up
We
at
do.
the end of the month?
We do at February, I think it's February 20th.
I think that's on my calendar
Okay,
to come
good.
work with
Okay.
you guys as well. And we can actually dig in and spend some time. I would really encourage you guys to request to have that data at that meeting, and we could dig into it together. So that I think that would be smart.
Okay.
I think it's February 20th.
Is there any ambiguity about what data you're referring to?
Can you give me a little bit more information on that?
You just stated that it would be a good idea if we had the data available ahead of time so that we could review it and then be able to discuss it at the meeting. And I'm asking whether the data you're referring to is a well-defined set of data that is uniformly defined by you and by the superintendent.
Yes. So as a part of the order, the district was expected to work with the Department of Education to determine a progress monitoring plan, which did happen over the summer. So that did happen. But I think subsequently in maintaining and updating the data that was required as a part of that plan, it's just, that's where the struggle has come. So again, the district is on it and working with schools, but it's not where we would expect it at mid-year. I would expect a couple quarters worth of data. So that would include things like interim data for student progress, It would include kind of early warning data, like at the high school, for instance. It would include essentially implementation benchmarks on how implementation of the required tasks are, so actual adult behavior and evidence of implementation there. So that's being pulled together, but I don't have it at this point. Not fully.
And Superintendent, are you in agreement with
Yes, we sit down
that
with,
data?
we sit down with Lisa, I think, every Friday, plus whenever they're lacking data, we go directly to those schools to make sure we're saying, we're going to go in front of the state board, these are the documents we need, and that's why she said we're working with the schools to make sure we do get that data.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you asked about the data,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't the data have been to you prior to February the 13th today? Or is it every 30 days? Or if the school started August, the semester started August, well, the school semester started August, how many times should have had that data in between today and there?
So I would say it's set up kind of like on a quarterly basis. So I'd say I would have expected like the second round of data at this point.
So you should.
So like once in the fall and now once in the winter. And like I said, I have some of it, just not all of it. And so that's the concern, is that I would expect a full report.
Can you provide this Board of Education the emails you forward to this ESS building about getting that data to you, please?
Yeah, and I would say the memo is further, is further documentation of that. I think what I would recommend is that you take a look at the progress monitoring plan that was submitted, that we worked on together, because it'll lay out all of the expected data and when it should have been reported. It's a lot, but that's already out there. So that plan of when things should have been done is out there. Again, I think folks are working on pulling it together, but it's that focus on making sure that we're, one, doing what's in the plan, and the reason we need the data is so that adjustments can be made in the implementation so that it's going quickly as possible, sort of have that accelerated look in anticipation of either coming off the accountability clock or being ready for that meeting with the board in the fall.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you refer to a monitoring report?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that something that's does the superintendent, do you have that, and is that available?
I believe that's on the
Who
website.
has that, and
That
is it
is- that
available
is-
for the board members?
That is on the website. It's called our turnaround plan, if I'm
So
correct.
there's the turnaround plan. This is the follow-up.
Okay.
This is one of the follow-ups to that. I don't believe it's on your website, but absolutely, it can be made public, absolutely.
So could you do that for us?
Yeah, I can
Thank you.
forward it. Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Mettler. Board President, I asked that we need to meet prior to the 20th to ask Ms. Mettler questions about some things that's been going on the wayside in this district. I think we need to do it as soon as possible because we are on the clock and we not getting things done in a timely manner. So I request that we have a study session as soon as possible. Because, yeah, he's saying the 20th,
It's actually the 28th.
the 28th, and today is the 13th. If I do my math right, that's a couple of weeks away. And what I'm listening to Ms. Mettler is telling us there's a sign of urgency that needs to be done as soon as possible. So now we can wait 2 weeks and be further behind the clock, or we can set the date as soon as possible as a board and get the superintendent and his staff to come down and show us what we're missing and what's lacking and see why we don't have this done. Thank you.
So would you like Ms. Mettler to be there?
I don't think we need Ms. Mettler right
Okay.
now. She already came in front of the board and said what? That this district is not getting the proper information to her at the CDE is lacking. So it's this district and we have one employee we pay, that's us, is the superintendent. So it's our job as the Board of Education to talk to the superintendent and find out why, how come, and what's going on. We can't blame the teachers. We can't blame the principals. We can't blame them.
So when are you suggesting we can do this? I can make myself available at any time, so.
I can make myself available tomorrow. I get off work at 3:30.
It has to
That's
be
how important.
posted 24 hours in advance.
24 hours, so if you post it right now, we can be here tomorrow night. Is that correct? That's 24 hours.
Got enough time for you to get the information to us?
I think we're okay. I mean, we can get it to them. I think all it is data that we're just trying to gather. We either have or we don't. And some of the data we don't have because, for example, beyond textbooks, this is the first year you have beyond textbooks. We're doing formative assessments, so we have to compile all that information and put it together in graphs and forms for the CDE. But I believe that's in process for the first quarter, and we're working on the second quarter for you. So, most of these things are in progress.
If we keep sitting here listening and saying things is in progress, well, if they're in progress, Ms. Mettler should have had them first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, around fall, right? So that should have been completed. Now we in another quarter, and we talking about some other things. Then what? Another 2 months, we go in front of the CDE.
Again, it would be after the release of the frameworks in August. And if the district and/or the high school don't come off, then we would schedule something with you later in the fall.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this information should come through our the computer people. Is that right? Because Ms.
So it's a
Teresa
mix.
Hernandez.
Yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix of student performance data, but then also implementation data. And so I think it's both things.
It's both, yeah. Because this letter is saying, which is dated yesterday, I see only one completed, 2 partials, and 2 to be determined by 18. So if you receive the letter, Dr. Abrego and Board President, I think we are looking at the 2 partial that needs to be done. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not trying to throw nobody under the bus, but the district and the department will develop a progress monitoring plan to track the implementation of its improvement strategies, monitor student achievement. The district must submit a copy of the progress monitoring plan to the Department of Revenue no later than August the 15th, 2017.
So that was done. That part was done. Now it's the collection and discussion of the data. And that's what's in question, or that's one of the big parts that's in question. So just to be clear, that when it says partial, it means that some of it's been done, but not necessarily everything. And it's to keep that focus on implementing this plan.
Okay.
And this is
So are you talking specifically about Adams City High School, mostly?
Both the
whole-
district.
The whole district, but what I see here is a lot of naming of the high school.
There's a couple examples in the high school where we're needing more information as well.
So if the high school doesn't get their act together, we're pretty much in trouble. Is that what you're saying?
I would say that this is a good time to be checking, because now you've got some time to get things in order before meeting with the state board.
And Kanye, just let me give you a quick update. We did go to the high school,
I know.
Lisa and I, and the team, and we said, these are the things that we need. They're doing a lot of things. A lot of things are new this year, but where's the evidence? And that was
See,
the key
I
thing.
understand that,
Right.
Dr. J, but when I see a bunch over here, Adams City High School,
Mhm.
Adams City High School, I don't think Adams City High School understands how serious this is.
Well,
And it's serious.
I disagree with you, Ms. Quintana.
You can if you want.
I disagree,
It's okay.
because it's the superintendent's job to let the high school know how important the data
I
or
get
the
that.
information we
I
supposed to.
get that, but
So-
I think it's a two-team. The high school, the superintendent, and the students, they all have to work together.
But
to get it
but we
going.
blaming students on adults not doing the proper etiquette of
I
their
get
job.
that.
And that's what I'm saying.
And-
So you can't blame students for if they're
I-
not getting the work down to the
Tom-
bottom, Mr. Ms. Quintana.
So can I bring this to order here? I mean,
Should've
I
brought it.
appreciate the discussion, and let's have this discussion after we get the data that we've requested. So can we get the
Sure.
data?
Yeah, we've been working on it. It's ongoing.
So will we have it by tomorrow?
Um,
So it's 8 o'clock, so we're gonna come in at 8 o'clock tomorrow?
Morning,
24 hours, we have to
according to
post.
Mr. Thomas, we are.
So I'm just, I can be here, so it's up to you
Me
guys.
too.
So can we make it happen by 8 o'clock tomorrow evening?
We can try. I mean, we can try. I would like at least one day to meet with the staff and get the information, but if you need it by tomorrow 8 o'clock, we just have to make it happen. It's all to it.
So tomorrow is Wednesday,
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. So,
That's a good-
so if we can,
That's
8
a good
o'clock,
balance.
8 o'clock tomorrow evening, we'll have a study session.
I would need a break to get the agenda together and posted in 10 minutes.
So you need a 10-minute break?
Well, if you want me to post it, I need to put it
She
together.
needs to post it outside.
Okay. Okay, how long would it take you to post it?
Well, I have 10 minutes to do it.
And,
Okay.
and again, I'm not trying to postpone, but I think just out of respect, to give my individuals time, they don't know this, it would be nice if we could give them one day just so they could notify their families or do whatever they have to do.
Thursday at 5 o'clock. You okay with that, Marcus?
Oh,
Thursday's
okay,
too
look,
fast.
can we do it Thursday at 5 o'clock?
That's excellent.
You have a superintendent forum on that day.
That's a
What time's your superintendent's forum over?
8:15.
Okay.
8:15, it's over.
So can we do it at 8:30? Can you make it back here by 8:30?
It's up to you.
So Thursday night at 8:30?
You know, Jimmy,
Yes, sir.
you know there's a girls' game.
I know. But we'll make it happen. Tonight.
It's tonight, but they also play Thursday night.
We'll make it happen. So we should be able to get the information. Lisa, we'll get working on it. Thank you for the update. Does anybody else have any questions for Lisa?
What time do you go to that meeting Thursday?
So I will definitely be with you at your end of the month study session, and then we can do some more follow-up then.
It's February 28th. I
February
thought it was the
28th.
20th, but I think it's the
Okay,
28th.
I think
so-
I've got it in my calendar.
And it's from 1 to 6, so whatever time you can come in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do you have anything else under superintendent's report?
No, we do not.
Okay, let's move to routine items, number 2, consent items, personnel. Superintendent's recommendation, can I get a motion?
I move that the consent items be accepted as amended.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, we did, we took 3 names off. A motion that or amend that we made in executive session after this meeting to discuss why those 3 names were taken off the list. I don't want to put it off and wait till down the road. It was motion today. We want to find out why. What's the reason for taking those 3 names off the agenda?
Jonathan?
Mr. Chair?
That you'll need to properly notice an executive session for a personnel matter and provide notice to the individuals so that they're given the opportunity to elect to have that discussion. So you wouldn't be able to have that tonight.
So we can't have that tonight. Can we have it tomorrow?
You could notice it, I would recommend that you notice it after the 8:30 study session you said.
Okay, and
Or before, you could do it before, but that would give your staff time to notice it properly.
so it'll be after the 5 o'clock. I think it's 5 o'clock on Thursday, correct?
Yeah.
So we can notice it for after 5 o'clock on Thursday.
No, it's 8:30, right?
It's
Oh, it's 8:30?
8:30, we
Oh, that's
wanted
right.
5, but he has a previous engagement. So it's 8:30 Thursday.
AM, PM.
PM.
So, but, do we need superintendent there? We just need our attorney there and the board can have, since it was.
Is that a correct statement?
Yes,
So we just need you there, so we can have it before.
yes.
Okay.
So we could meet at 8 o'clock, I don't know, 8 o'clock? We could meet executive session at 8, and then 8:30 we proceed with the data information.
The executive session might go longer than 30 minutes.
Well, I don't know, I don't know.
So let's do executive session at 7.
7 o'clock? Okay. Another all-nighter.
Okay. So we do have a motion on the floor
Already seconded.
with a second, and we were in discussion. So do we have any other discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to item business. Other, superintendent recommendation, approval of out-of-state travel to Minneapolis, Minnesota to attend responsive classroom in March of 2018. Can I get a motion, please?
Okay, a motion for the out-of-state approval to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I second it.
Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This was a topic that occupied the majority of the board's time at the last week's study session. And I need to bring it up again. And this is an issue that has evaded me and I think many other people for a long time. And for the first few months that I've been on the board, I've heard an awful lot of, vigorous discussion about recess time, about literacy programs, and a number of other things. But I think the elephant in the room that we haven't seen or addressed is the issue of coverage and splitting classes. And that seems, my first question from other people have been, well, how does this have anything to do with approving travel to Minneapolis? And the link is that I think coverage is such a serious problem in some of our schools. I can't speak for all of them, but I know it's a major epidemic problem in some of the schools. And I'm all for professional development, but we have, I would say, close to an emergency situation in not having coverage for classes. And I have a very hard time approving sending teachers and administrators away for days at a time, which to me exacerbates the coverage problem in the schools. Now, I understand it was discussed last Thursday that this is a problem that is not unique to Adams 14. Other districts have it as well. But for us to really move forward, we need to address the problem. And I have collected some data. It's very, very preliminary, and I would love to see the district get behind it and actually provide it so we have detailed information about the extent to which it happens. But I do have information from one elementary school that shows that essentially on any given day, a child is in less than a positive learning environment 50% of the time. And that is absolutely unacceptable. And while we're arguing and bickering over, beyond textbooks or benchmark or biliteracy or this or that, those are legitimate issues too, but they take a very, very, back seat to the looming issue of coverage. And I think that it's not just that we're depriving the kids of a learning opportunity, but we also are not setting good study habits and not providing a proper model for our kids in terms of how they view education. And those bad habits, that bad impression is going to go with them into middle school and high school. So I think it's a very serious problem. Now, I don't want to be accused of micromanaging, but I can offer two suggestions to perhaps try to address this problem. And one of them, in this particular instance of this is called the responsive classroom, and I just want to let you know, and I failed to bring it, but I actually have a copy of the responsive classroom. It's a very self-explanatory textbook. My wife and I were in Providence, Rhode Island, almost 20 years ago, and they were a school that was implementing the responsive classroom methodology 20 years ago, and this was new at that time. But the school adopted it. It was a very, very successful program. But instead of spending the money and the time and so forth, the human resources to send teachers to Minneapolis, I would suggest that we have the chief academic officer get the book, read it, and provide workshops for the people here in Adams 14. I see no reason to have to spend money and resources to send 20 people or 30 or whatever number of people it is to a state outside of Colorado. That's just a suggestion. I am not trying to dictate or enforce that, but it's something that I think is a suggestion, take it or leave it. A second option that I have to solve this problem of epidemic shortage of subs is to increase the pay that we provide to subs. And we have some very recent evidence that teachers, like probably everybody else, is very price sensitive. What that means is when you alter the price, people will respond accordingly. And the example that we have is in 27J. 27J is the Brighton area. And just recently, they made the news because they are going to a 4-day week because they don't have enough funds. For 17 straight years, the voters have voted down an attempt to raise the mill levy. Now, at some point, the system breaks, and this is the school's response was, well, okay, you don't give us the money, then we can't give you as much education as you'd like. So they went to a 4-day week, and what was maybe surprising or not, a lot of teachers have applied to 27J because they can't, the district can't give them a pay raise, but they give them an extra benefit by having a 3-day weekend every week. So,
Dr. Hyde,
Yes.
can I interrupt you for a
Sure.
minute, please? We had a study session on this issue, and I tried to have the study session prior to this meeting, so we didn't have to have a study session during the board
okay,
meeting.
so I'll just finish up.
How long do you have?
All I'm saying is the second suggestion I have is that we simply raise the pay for substitute teachers, and we will probably really be able to address the shortage problem by doing that. Thank you.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
answer that question. Is last year we raised the substitute rate, and we probably are the highest in the metro area. We went from, what was it, $100 a day to $130. So I don't know how much higher we can go and there, and maybe one of the situations should be, maybe we should pay teachers extra at the end of the year, give them a bonus for not missing any days. 0 to 1, you get an extra 1,000 or whatever. I don't know what we're paying on substitutes, but if you choose your data and you look at your data, I don't care if we send these teachers to Indianapolis or not, but we're still going to see a high number of teachers missing. Not just in Adams 14, but it's throughout the country that teachers are taking more days off than ever before. So maybe to keep the teachers from taking so many days off is we give them a pay at the end. But that's for another day. But just to inform you that we did. We raised the thing to 130, I think we pay subs today? And that's pretty good money for...
Yeah, I was just throwing it out as a suggestion. It's just that I have a hard time, voting to have our teachers pulled out of the classrooms when we have a serious problem as it stands right now. That's all. There may be lots of other solutions.
Okay, thank you. So, we have any other comments? So we have a motion and a second, and the discussion's done. Monica, can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Nay.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Nay.
1.2, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval of the revised 2018-2019 student calendar with updates. Can I have a recommendation, please?
I move that we approve the revised 2018-19 student calendar with updates.
I second it.
Any discussion? I have roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana? Aye. Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.3, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval of out-of-state travel to participate in the Relay 2018-2019 program.
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have my notes right in front of me regarding this item, but did we settle upon, did we determine in our study session the date of that program?
They posted, Dr. Hyde.
Excuse me?
The date's posted in the updated agenda.
What page is that, if you have it?
23.
June 18th, 19th, October, December, February, and May. Our tentative dates. Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Nay.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Yay.
Superintendent's recommendation, approval for a 1.0 table of authorized personnel increase for an early childhood coach. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I have a roll call, Monica, please?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.5, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to increase the contract amount with Caitlin Lombardi, teacher of the visually impaired and orientation mobility specialist, to provide services for the students with a visual disability for the remainder of the 2017-18 school year.
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.6, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for overnight travel to Vail, Arizona for a site visit.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Nay.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.7, Superintendent's recommendation, approval of out-of-state travel to San Antonio, Texas for quality teaching for English learners on July the 23rd through the 27th of 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. We're not able to mention staff's name, right?
Right.
Because, excuse me, well, Dr. Abrego, I'm looking at the ESS building. Now, I do see the first name, ELD coordinator, but then I do not see the bottom two names in the ESS building that you authorized want to go on this trip. And I'm confused. On the district website, I pulled up the ESS building, and I do see I can't say the name, but I don't see the biliteracy coordinator district of the ELL. She not one of these people in here. And I don't understand how come two people on here you got in the ESS building, the last two names, K through 12, in the ESS, but they're not on the district website. And the last person, the educational program support specialist, I don't see her name on here. How come she's not going? But you got two names. They not even in the district. They not even on in the ESS building.
Yeah, if I could explain, this is primarily to help the high school, okay? So these are, most of these individuals, the individuals are going up from the high school. If you look down, you'll see the name ELD coordinator. She is going. She is from the ESS office. We also have the two individuals at the bottom, Tracy Rudy, the teacher on special assignment. They work with K-12. They work with the high school. Specifically, they're located here, but they spend a lot of their time at the high school to improve certain areas. The other one is a teacher on special assignment to help science. So these people are also going because they spend most of their time or part of their time at the high school. They meet here and then they go there and instruct the high school and also other areas, other schools.
Why is she not going? He mentioned, and are we mentioning names or are we not mentioning names?
No, we're not mentioning names, but ask him.
Why is she not going? She's on the district website as the director.
That's not a director,
Her name right here.
right? It's a part-time coordinator?
Doctor.
Yeah, she works in our district part-time. She's a part-time coordinator.
Why is she not going?
She's not with the high school. I mean, as I said, this is a team. Again, we can't send everyone, but we have Cheryl Green. We have the person that's above, that's in charge of that whole department. That's the one that is designated as going.
Well,
You have a full-time coordinator and a part-time. The full-time is the one that's going.
well, Dr. Brego, when you bring this to the Board of Education, and we went over it Thursday, and I did say I might have questions today because I still have to read my packet. And I'm saying is, you have this, as the doctor over the biliteracy coordinator district. It doesn't say on the district website she's part-time. It doesn't even have the two young ladies you mentioned on the district website, but you got them listed in the ESS building and you say they go to the high school. I'm not disputing you saying it's just the high school going. That's not my question. My question is, the work is not correct, updated in the district, in this ESS building. It's not updated and it's not correct.
So you're saying for the two people on the bottom, we need to just specify that they're teachers on special assignments, they're located in the ESS building, and they support our K-12, all our schools basically.
No, Dr. Berg, I'm not saying that. I'm saying their name ain't even they're not even located in this building.
They are located in this building.
But if you go to the district
Oh, that's what I'm
website,
saying.
and
You
that's
just-
where I went to
you-
understand travel, going to San Antonio. I looked the names up, the titles. The last two names' titles are not on the district website.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. But you asking us to approve somebody to go somewhere, and their name's not on the district website. Once again, they name. So how do I know? Sitting up here, I'm voting for two people in this ESS building, and I look up on the district website and I can't find them. That's what I'm saying. How do that make me look to say, yes, I'm voting for two people, and you say, oh, they go to here, they go over there. That's what I'm saying. If it's not current, how do I, then you say we got a part-time literacy person.
So you're
Mr.
saying-
Chairman, are we able to postpone this to the next meeting? This conference is not until July, and then we could have the ESS roster updated in the interim period to reflect these changes that Director Thomas is concerned about?
Because if
Mr.
I'm not
Chair?
mistaken, Ms. Quintana, last board asked you to give us a roster of the people in this building, and we haven't received it as of today.
Mr. Chair?
Jonathan.
You do have a motion and a second to approve this item. If Dr. Hyde is making a motion to table this, that certainly would take priority. So if there's a second if he is making a motion, and if it were seconded, then that would be appropriate to have discussion and a roll call on that.
So what do we do with the first motion?
The first motion would wait. Dr. Hyde, if he is making a motion, it wasn't clear, but if he is to table that, then it takes priority over the first motion.
So if we table it, can it come back to vote?
It can. It's important to, if you want it to come back, when you want it to come back, that you should say in the motion to table it. So do you want to table it indefinitely? Do you want to table it for the next meeting? It should be clear.
I move that we postpone it until the next meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
Now you have discussion, will your staff be able to put it on the website, the two people that are going, if they're,
Well, I think you're just asking to update the website. I can ask individuals to do that.
And what Ms. Quintana asked for 2 weeks ago was a district in the ES
Organization chart.
organization chart. So those two names would have been under the organization chart if we'd have got them 2 weeks ago, and we wouldn't have to table this. But the names is not on the ESS under the EDL program.
Okay. Any other discussion? So we have a motion to postpone until indefinitely?
No, the next board meeting, the next regular board meeting.
Okay. So we have a motion to postpone until the next regular board meeting with a second. We're in discussion. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
aye,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.8, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase hardware for internal WAN, W-A-N, upgrade.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
aye,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.9, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to obtain services from Trenor HL, formerly H&L Architecture for Adams City Middle School and Alsop Elementary School, Best Grant Assistance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
aye,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
1.10, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for in-state overnight travel to Keystone, Colorado to attend the Transition Leadership Institute, June 14th through the 16th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any conversation? Any questions? No discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
aye,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Superintendent's recommendation, approval for out-of-state travel to San Diego, California for the Positive Behavior Support Conference, March the 28th through the 30th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Dr. Hyde?
Nay.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
aye,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
So that brings us to communications. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for staying. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being here. Our Eagle girls are playing basketball tonight. Hopefully they win their basketball game. If they do, they're going to be to the playoffs. I think it might be the first time in like 17 years. I've been to a few of their games, and they're doing really well. So congratulations to them. Hopefully they did well tonight. I don't know. But I just want to say thank you again for participating and paying attention to what goes on in your district. Anybody else have anything?
Yes. I'd like to congratulate the Adams City High School wrestling team for 9 gentlemen going to the state finals. That's very impressive. And I'd just like to thank everybody for showing up today and have a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Of course.
Mr. Chairman, on the very last page, I just have a question regarding annual items. One of them is Board of Education self-evaluation, and the second one that I have a question about is the strategic planning sessions. It says 3 times a year with the State Board of Education. Do we have dates as to when those two things happen?
It's with Student Board of Education.
Oh,
There isn't a student board.
Student board, not state board?
It doesn't say state there.
So we have strategic planning sessions with the student
There
board?
isn't a student board.
Do we have dates for those?
There isn't a student board.
There isn't a student board? Okay.
So we meet
So-
with student council a couple of times a year. I've met with them this year earlier. Mr. Rolla and I went. I've got to set up a time to meet with student council again. I haven't been there for a meeting. But if you want to attend their student council meeting with me, you're more than welcome to.
This is
okay.
student board.
I know, but I'm just saying, we meet with the
I
with the
thought
student
we were gonna
council
have
board.
one, and the young man that approached me said he wanted to have a student board. And Monica and I talked to him, and he said, okay, I got it all, and I don't know, we haven't heard back from him.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll continue the conversation with we need a sponsor for those things, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to get somebody to sponsor a student board because there is a lot involved with it. So we'll continue working on trying to get somebody to fill the seat at the Board of Education.
And then how about the Board of Education self-evaluation? That's an annual item, and when does that occur?
We haven't done that this year. We can schedule it whenever.
Okay, I'll reflect on it.
We're gonna
and
be,
offer
we're gonna
something.
be here for about 5 or 6 hours on February the 28th, if you wanna do it.
We'll roll it into that.
We might as well. We're gonna be here all day, so
Well,
I'm not opposed to coming earlier or
Just bring
staying a little
food.
bit later.
Bring food.
So Monica, we have a board request for promotions within our Grow Our Own. Have those been updated?
That's an old item.
That's an old item? Anything else?
One last thing regarding communication, and I know that over the last few days, everybody's been super busy trying to respond to requests and so forth. But I do have a number of requests for information that I have submitted that have not been answered. Essentially, about half of the requests that I have made have not had, I have not received responses to them as best I am aware. And so I understand that everybody's been kind of taxed in terms of shortage of time, but I would like to see those requests for information honored over the next week. Thank you.
Yes, and I'd like to just thank, because we have kind of dumped on the staff here to get some things since our meeting on Thursday to get things done, and I want to thank you, everybody that's been involved in doing what you do to try and make sure we have the information that we need. I want to thank you publicly and personally for jumping through all the hoops necessary to make that happen. Thank you very much.
Just like to say that we should be careful when we start making so many demands that we start taking work away from individuals, and we sometimes have those individuals working till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We don't want to stay here till 7, 8:30 at night, so just be careful on what make a demand, one demand this week, another demand. Don't try to put a bunch of demands on our staff because they have other jobs that they have to do.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing no further business before the board, I'd like to adjourn the Board of Education, Adams 14
Roll call.
meeting.
Roll
You want to do roll call?
No.
It's non-debatable.